People's Democratic Party, PDP, is prominent on the front pages of some of the papers this morning. Look at the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper. Party crisis, PDP governors, NWC, BOT, NAS caucus, broker peace, nullify suspensions, reaffirm Damagum as acting national chair, as NEC meeting seems uncertain. Will resist one party, that's from governors. Find the details on the inside pages. Daily Trust has PDP crisis. Damagum may step down next week. Aggrieved members told to withdraw court cases. Governors ask factional leaders to vacate office, lift suspensions. The details continue on the inside pages of the paper this morning. Daily Independent has PDP governors resolve NWC crisis, reunite feuding factions. Party demands removal of REC ahead Ondo-Guba poll. The front page of Blueprint newspaper has anxiety as PDP National Chairman Damagum returns. Ologunagba, Ajibade, others too. October 24 NEC remains unchanged. Governors Forum urges parties to sheath sword, maintain status quo. Will still win Ondo despite leadership crisis. That's from Southwest Chair. Find the details of that on the inside pages of the paper. PDP governors resolve NWC crisis. Ask parties to revert to status quo. Amewule-led Rivers Assembly declares pro-Fubara lawmakers' seat vacant. Your seats already declared vacant since December 13. Pro-Fubara lawmakers insist. Details on pages 4 and 5 of the paper this morning. There are other stories in the news today. The Daily Times has UK denies endorsing Igboho's petition on Yoruba nation. Details on page 2. This Nigeria has grid collapses again. Businesses grounded. TCN says power fully restored. Nigeria shouldn't be experiencing this kind of thing. As from Obi, details on the inside pages of the paper. Nigerian News Direct has inflation rate hits 32.70% on petrol price hike after 2-month decline. CPPE urges government action to curb rising prices. The details on page 3 of the paper this morning. The Guardian newspaper has a rather bemoaning headline, World Food Day. Inflation-weary Nigerians begging borrowing for survival. Page 6 has that story, and the infographics on the front page give you an idea what it's all about. Vanguard. On the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning, it's about the Super Eagles Libyan horror show. Highest authority ordered diversion of flight. That's from the pilot. Says such unexpected diversion can compromise safety as NAS blasts 6 Libyan government's apology. Senate calls for probe, 6 stiffer penalties for Libya. Reps ask FG to summon Libyan ambassador to Nigeria. I'm still in shock, Iguavon says. CAF officially puts Nigeria-Libya match on hold. The details of that story you'll find on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper today. On the front page of Business Day newspaper this morning, it's about petrol price pain turns CNG gain for Nigerian drivers. It's a big story. It continues on the inside pages of the paper. These are some of the papers we have for you this morning.
Well, quite a lot to ruminate upon when you look at the front pages this morning. But let's take a look at the front page of the Guardian newspapers. And yes, while you cannot escape the lead headline there, World Food Day, inflation-weary Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. I mean, even if you wanted to, if you didn't know it was World Food Day, I bet you if you are a parent and you have children in primary school in Nigeria today, you will know it's World Food Day. Because they would have told you to bring one type of food or something to school to celebrate World Food Day. I was asked to do that, so I mean...
I was celebrating during my break.
There was no way I could forget that it was World Food Day, but the story which the front page rather tells is no laughing matter. Right now, I mean, you can see it right there. Inflation-weary Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. I'm going to read a quote there. It says, by the conservative estimate of the national average, by the national average cost of a healthy diet of 1,255 naira per meal, as of August figures, a family of 4 would require 150,000 naira a month to have a meal daily. That's the least. You have to ask, how many people are even earning this? You know, how many families of 4 even earn this 150,000 naira? So big questions right there. But that's not the focus for me. The focus is a small story just right at the bottom of this, which goes to, you know, show just how this could affect another very vulnerable class of people. Abbas flays 10,000 naira monthly upkeep for pensioners. Abbas, if you're wondering, is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and I'm sure he's wondering, as I am, you know, how come it is that some people are getting 10,000 naira as pension. If there's any group of people, if there's any class of people that this inflation, the inflationary trends have affected the most, it is those who have to earn a pension. Sadly, oftentimes when inflation happens, it doesn't take into cognizance, it doesn't, you know, the interest do not accrue to those who already are earning pensions. They seem to be the worst hit of those who are earning anything, because first, they're most times too old to work. They cannot go back out to work. They're past that age. And secondly, some of them do have you know, medical issues which they are managing. So you can imagine if the price of food is up and the price of medication is up, you know, what are they supposed to do with what it is that they're earning? And then you now hear that some people are earning 10,000 naira monthly pension. So if there's a way that we can look and review, because I don't want to believe that for the Speaker of the House of Representatives, it stopped just at anger and flaying it. I want to believe that he will also come up with a solution, something that is workable, a proposition that would positively affect the earnings of those, you know, who have done their bit and should be in their years rested, our pensioners, our senior citizens. So while it is commendable that his own words and it have highlighted this particular situation, I want to believe that it will go beyond just flaying it. Trembling.
Well, that would be very interesting to see how all of that does turn out. But I'm going to hang on a little bit for that World Food Day and let Ayo speak. Come through, Ayo.
Well, actually, I'm actually in the same space this morning as Mark Boyer concerning the World Food Day. Well, my angle, my take on it is from the front page of Daily Independent. No, they are not talking about the World Food Day specifically, but right above the nameplate of Daily Independent is this disturbing news. Increases in petrol, food prices push inflation to 32.70% in September. That's in the month gone by. Food prices. We've always known that whenever there is inflation, food inflation is usually the highest on the list. And to imagine that this data is in a way affirmed on the front page of the Guardian newspaper should be a little disturbing. Now, we also see on the front page of the Guardian newspaper that there's hardly any state in Nigeria that does not have food production capacity, food crops or cash crops production capacity. To also hear that 50% of fresh agricultural produce in Nigeria is lost during post-harvest stage raises a lot of questions. I mean, we've been talking about this ingenious idea of the Africa Development Bank with 7 states, including the FCT, for about 2 to 3 years now, if not more. $538 million assigned for special agro-industrial processing zones, almost like they foresaw that we could get to this particular situation. Malcolm and Chamberlain, you'd remember that sometime around March of 2020, we were warned ahead that because people would stay home for a long time, there was going to be high level of food inflation, food scarcity actually. It's going to be a high level of food scarcity because nobody will be able to go to farms and all of that to produce food. Have we in any way inched forward since 2020 in terms of food production? I thought that the loss of post-harvest losses was just something around 30, 40%. So imagine that it's 50%. And on the front page of the Guardian newspaper should give anyone in that value chain serious reason to have sleepless nights, especially because these things, first of all, primarily affect people who can't fend for themselves, such as the people highlighted by Mokpe earlier, that 10,000 naira minimum is what some pensioners get. 10,000 naira. I'm imagining that there are people this morning listening to us right now whose data, even call credit, is way beyond 10,000 naira. And we could go on and on with this list. So, who is having sleepless nights over this? Are the 7 states that are supposed to have started executing the special agro-industrial processing zones, have they started having sleepless nights? Is anyone resting on their oars, or someone is actually doing something that we can record that indeed something is being done to ramp up food production in our country? We know that importation is a problem for many, many reasons. How about we produce what we can eat at home? Is it rocket science, Chamberlain?
Well, part of what we're going to be exploring today, in addition to that, is a little bit of what you see on the front page of Leadership. World Bank projects 10.5% revenue growth for Nigeria. Now, the first part of this story actually did say that between policies of currency float and guess what? Fuel subsidy removal, the World Bank says, has resulted in higher revenue generation. Now, is that in context or what? So those narratives are part of what we'll get in. And there's someone who is in that sector, in that industry, to speak about those things. So is World Bank encouraging those policies to keep going on? Because many think, wait a minute, are these not the policies that got us to where we are today? Is that not why we are where we are today? So don't worry, just hang on. We'll have them break it all down for us in terms of what should we be doing to ensure food security is guaranteed in the country. All of that and more when we return.